Hey everybody, and welcome to another show. We just did a practice run because I have a brand new microphone, so I don't know how it sounds, but it came out a little bit too much, and Fernando was giggling his little head off, weren't you, Justin? He still is, apparently.
Yeah. It was pretty hilarious, if I say so myself.
It was. Anyway, tonight we are going to be talking about your local friendly neighbourhood cryptid. And we're not talking about Spider-Man either. We've been flicking back through some of the analytics of our previous videos, and what we found is that the cryptid episodes are doing pretty well. So we thought we would touch on that and see what everybody thinks about it. So I thought we'd start with Fernando, because Fernando has a local legend that is worth talking about.
Well, I mean, for you guys who don't know, I'm actually located in New York. So, I mean, here in New York, I guess the local cryptoids would be subway rodents, but I don't think that counts.
No.
I don't think that counts. But but if we was just to go over a state to New Jersey, there is a very well-known cryptoid there, and it goes by the name of the Jersey Devil. I mean, how much information do you know about the Jersey Devil, or have you ever heard of?
I have heard of the Jersey Devil. I don't know that much about it because there are quite a few different cryptids around, and I don't know the specifics of all of them. So I'm sure you're going to fill us in a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, definitely. So the Jersey Devil, some may have their own description on how it looks, but from everything I've seen, like if I was to categorize it, I think it's if the Jersey Devil does exist or still exist, because it's been around since, well, I mean, I would say early 1900s. Yeah. To me, it looks like a pterodactyl, dinosaur.
So is that tied to the old Thunderbird and everything, does it?
Yeah, I mean, people have different descriptions. For example, it is a kangaroo-like with a horse or goat head.
Yeah.
Leathery bat wings, horns.
Wow.
And I mean, besides of this picture that I'm looking at right now, it looks absolutely ridiculous, but but I mean, who's not to say, if you was to see a real pterodactyl out there, would people describe it differently?
Yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah, so it's actually in let me see, South Jersey. It's actually a Philly folklore also. Yep. Within here, it is also known as the Leeds Devil, a legendary creature said to inhabit the forests of the Pine Barrens in South Jersey.
I've heard the Pine Barrens before. Is there some other kind of cryptids associated with those?
The Pine Barrens are very well known to have some mythological, paranormal, UFO sightings. It's almost right up there as like what we hear from the Skinwalker Ranch.
Wow.
Like there's just like a bunch of stuff happening. I would dare I say it's like I mean, almost like a cesspool of different paranormal. And again, paranormal is not just ghosts and ghouls and all this. It's about anything that's not normal. And yeah, I would say it would be right up there with Skinwalker Ranch.
See, sure. we don't have anything like that over here. I wish we did, but we don't have anything like that. We do have one which is a local, I wouldn't even say it's a legend at the moment, but not far from me is a little suburb called Port Kennedy here in Western Australia, and there have been several reports of a very strange creature which locking it into a specific kind of creature, because the description of this thing is about 3 meters tall, with long spindly legs, a weird sort of body, and it's very, very, very fast. Now, the only thing I can actually put it down to is, I don't know if you've seen that film, The Mist, the one where the mist comes into the town and there's those creatures in the mist, those big giant ones.
I actually enjoyed that movie. I mean, it's, it's pretty good. Yeah, I've seen it.
You know those really long-legged things with a big long neck and a weird body? I mean, if you scale that down to about 2 to 3 meters tall, that's what this thing is. But what's strange about it is, if I'd have thought on, I would have actually gone down and shot some footage down there to actually put in this video. I may yet still do some, so we'll wait and see what the finished product actually looks like. But I've been down to this road several times now. The main report is that this lady was driving home and there was kids in the back. They were asleep, and I don't know if she had somebody in the passenger seat. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and she was turning off onto this one specific road. Now, on the other side of the road, it's all houses. Now, this is not far from the beach at all, but on the other side, there's a little small fence, maybe it's less than waist high anyway. It's just a little wire fence, and it's bush for maybe 1 kilometer or 2 until you hit the beach. And she said she saw this thing that was silhouetted against the night sky, and this thing was running, and it was that tall. Now, this, from the road, it's probably 6 or 7 meters to this fence, and this thing was on the other side of the fence, and it was keeping up with the car. She started speeding up now at 50 kilometers an hour down this road, so she was doing well over 60, because this thing was keeping up. And she said all she could see was the legs and the bottom of the torso when she was looking out of the car. So if you look out of the side window of your car, you're restricted on how far you can see and things like that. That may put this thing even taller than 3 meters tall, because this thing was massive. It can run at 60 kilometers an hour. Now, that's the main one that's freaked people out. Now, there are kangaroos in that area, and there have been reports of a few little deer in there as well. It's a tiny little space, and I've seen kangaroos in there, but I've never seen deer in there. But I don't know of any deer that's 3+ meters tall. And I mean, it would almost be like a lanky, skinny kind of a moose sounding thing, and it does freak a lot of people out. And it is a local legend of Port Kennedy, so I will definitely get down there at some point. And there is a walkway down at the other end, like a bike path that runs along the back of the beach, so you can get to the back of this bush and have a good look and see if you can see something. But once you go across this road, there's a fairly big bit of deserted land which you can't access except for walking into, and it could possibly reside in there, but I would have thought people might have actually gone checking it all out. But it is up, and it will all be redeveloped at some point soon. But it's really interesting that something like that can be heard, and you can actually find the reports if you look at them. But that's just a local one in Western Australia, and it's actually not that far from where I live, so I will go and check it out and maybe throw some footage in.
So I've always questioned, is it safe to be going out after these creatures? Because let's just say a lot of these creatures do tend to have big teeth. And pretty dangerous. So as far as would you go in prepared to like hunting, or would you go in prepared to like try and get evidence? Because there are kind of two different aspects on how to go after these said creatures. Because like from previously, how we had the interview with Ray Doherty, like they go in fully prepared for just about anything to go after the Yahi.
Yeah.
So and the Yahi, to the most part, would you consider them a dangerous kind of species compared to, let's say, you know, a Jersey Devil who could who has teeth and could fly with bat wings like a pterodactyl, sort of Jurassic Park kind of scenario?
Well, we do have we have had reports over here of a pterodactyl type creature, and one of my investigators from my team, one of the original investigators from my team, actually was able to record this thing, and he played it for us. This big screech, and again, he only saw it as a silhouette against the night sky, but this thing was flying and it was massive. Now, other than that, I've only heard of a few reports, and there's not really anything that's credible. But when this guy, I won't use his name because I don't know if he'd want me to use his name, but he actually played this audio for us, and it was unearthing. You know, I don't know if that's the word to use. Unnerving is the word I think I was looking for there, but it was definitely a very.
I mean, you could definitely use both. Unnerving because you know it's,
yeah.
And then unearthly because it doesn't sound like something within, you know, real.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, there was another case that we were called on. Oh, how long ago would this have been now? It would have been about 10 years ago, and we have a local island off Western Australia called Lock Ness Island, and the Lock Ness Island board actually got in touch with my team, with me, because they had issues at a place called Kingston Barracks, which is, anybody who's in Western Australia pretty much knows Lock Ness, and they know Kingston Barracks. It's a place where you can stay over there, and it's an old military type place. And there was a team of painters over there because they were renovating and they were repainting the barracks because they rent them out for people to stay. And something happened over there that scared the hell out of these guys. They called the police, because there's a couple of police on the island, and there's I think 1 or 2 police cars there. They actually had to have the armed police come and take them back to the port because they weren't going to stay out at the Kingston Barracks. And then they were out the next day on the ferry back to the mainland, and they said while they were in the barracks, something was running around the outside of the barracks, and it was making an almighty noise. They actually had their phone recording, and they gave it to the Lock Ness Island board because they turned around and said, "Look, there's something around here. You need to let people know about it." And this was like 10 years ago, so I'm pretty safe talking about it now. And if not, sorry, but you know, it freaked. I mean, these are grown men. I mean, I don't know if they'd been drinking or anything like that. I can't imagine there would have been while they were on the job, but who knows? But it scared the hell out of them to the point where they actually wanted off the island. Now this is a big holiday location for us where we go locally, and we were called in to investigate, and I'll be honest, we couldn't find anything. We couldn't find anything at all. Now we even went. There are a lot of old gun turrets around. You have to go walking into the bush, and you can get to the gun turrets, and you can actually do some investigation in them as well. And they're pretty cool, but nothing that was that big that you could hear its footsteps, and you could hear its breathing, and then this God Almighty howl. Not even a howl. Not like a something that you would picture. You know, when the reports of Bigfoot and things like that, they hear those sort of vocalizations, those very guttural cries, I suppose. It was one of them, and I had that until only a few years ago. I kept it because it was so interesting, but I've changed phones a couple of times and I don't know where it's gone. I've been checking my emails. I haven't been able to find that since, but yeah, that's Lock Ness Island. So what can be running around making that kind of noise on an island that's about, I think the coastline goes for about 18 kilometres all the way around. It's not a massive island. There is plenty of space there, but there are that many people that go there, especially through the summer months, that there's no space for a cryptid to actually exist without being seen. So
Wow.
I don't know what that is, but it definitely freaked them out, and we were busting at the guts because it cost quite a bit to get over to Lock Ness Island, but the Lock Ness Island board actually paid. They covered our ferry fares there and back, and they put us up in accommodation out at Kingston Barracks. So nobody else was there. So they said, wherever this thing is, we're throwing you right in the mix. So we had access to all the cabins there, the actual barracks themselves, and the guide actually took us into the room that they were in when it happened. And we did get some very strange electromagnetic readings. Something's definitely happening there, but I wouldn't have associated it with a cryptid as such. Definitely some sort of paranormal activity. I don't know if you know how when we talked to Ray and other people, and you mentioned about portals and how maybe it's a dimensional thing. That's one way you could explain it getting on and off the island without being seen, but there's no other sort of legitimate reason for it being there, because it would have been picked up and probably shot by the police.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when people think of cryptoids, one of the questions is like, how can they exist for or live for so long? Because just like humans and animals, or like we basically have an expiration date. But it seems like these cryptoids, they have unlimited lifespan. So you could actually think, are these actually real, or is this just a folklore that keeps on continuing to the like that, almost like a chain reaction? Because how are these just regular animals that in a way, due to their environment or even some sort of they're kind of mutated in a way to look how they look? Because with the Jersey Devil, there's like a whole story, and apparently a person birthed the Jersey Devil. I don't know how, I don't know. Okay. In 1735, deep in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, Jane Leeds discovered she was pregnant with her 13th child.
Oh, there you go, 13th child, yeah.
Let this one be the devil she allegedly cursed. I mean, I think, I'm not a female to be giving birth, but after 13 kids, I will be pissed off too, right?
Well, especially if the last one came out looking like a bloody kangaroo, bloody leather-winged thing.
Right? Then, while there are many versions of the Jersey Devil's lore, the most popular is she birthed the 13th child. It grew wings, horns, hooves, and a tail. The monster flew up the chimney and out into the night. With Halloween upon us, we decided to take a closer look at 13. Oh, and then it just it's gonna go into basically, wow, there's even a news article about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's and we're talking about 1700s.
Yeah.
The early 1900s in Salem.
Okay, well, there's all sorts of stuff going on there.
This cryptoid could fly, right? So it's not gonna stick into one location.
Do you reckon that ties into the Mothman?
Could it be, right?
I mean, maybe not the Point Pleasant reports, but there have been reports of it that there was sightings of him before the World Trade Center came down, and there's actual photos of something that looks very much winged, almost bat-winged and humanoid looking. I don't think in that one you saw like a kangaroo head or anything like that, but could it be the one and the same, or is there more than one of them?
The only difference in description that I see there would be that didn't they describe the Mothman like not even having a neck or something?
Yeah.
Just well, I mean, this apparently has a long neck. So but that is a very interesting theory, though. I mean,
I just think
Who knows?
there's a lot of room for a lot of these myths and legends to cross over and muddy the waters a little bit. You look at,
Yeah.
I mean, over there you have the skunk ape, you have Bigfoot, there's 1,000 different names for him around the place. What's not to say they are different ones? I mean, when we were talking to Ray, he said there's more out there than just the Yowies. So you would have to assume it's the same over there. I mean, the last episode we did was on the Dogman, and somebody actually made a comment on that video that they run in packs, which is what you would expect, because if they have wolf in them or something like that, wolves run in packs, and I think coyotes are a bit more singular. But what's not to say that, like what you're saying, that it's a generational thing, that these things somehow reproduce, and when one dies there's more to come. Who knows?
I mean, if we go beyond that theory, wouldn't they multiply and more sightings should have been seen?
The trick is, who are they what are they reproducing with? If they've only,
that was going to be my next question.
If there are so many, you don't. I mean, you know what it's like. No, you don't know what it's like. I don't want to start talking.
I'm just going to say this, I'm just going to say this. This is why there's a lot of different types of dogs, because they crossbreed.
Yes.
Right, and then a lot of these dogs, they kind of look like they're mixed. So maybe it all started with a goat and a horse, and then at some point in time, this goat horse got a little kinky and went for
a kangaroo.
And went for a kangaroo, and then the kangaroo went.
That poor bat.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe that's the screeching you hear at night time, is those goats chasing down those bats, and bam. Who knows? But getting back on topic and everything, as well as what I like to call the Beast of PK, the Beast of Port Kennedy. We have Yowie sightings over here now. One of the places where we like to go quite regularly, especially when we're taking public out who don't want to go into anything really super creepy, we go to a place called the Swanview Tunnel. Now, in the Swanview Tunnel, there are kangaroos around, so they're not cryptids, they're just Australian wildlife, they're around. But there have been reports of Yowie activity out there. So we've actually gone out a couple of times, and we've tried to the best of our ability, try and coax the Yowie into responding to our calls and things like that. No luck, but there are reports over here of, in WA, one chasing a car, and I think there have been 3 reports over the last. If you go to the Yowie research page, there's about 3 or 4 reports in WA, but there are sites around, especially on Facebook and things. There have been a lot more recent sightings which haven't been put on that page, and we actually had a Yowie researcher come over here from over east because he was tracking their migration patterns, which interesting that he says migration patterns, because that automatically says there's a lot more than one of them. And we actually went and did an investigation down in Jarrahdale, which is south of where we are, and based on the reports from A to B, we worked out, well, it takes them that long to get from there to there, and this is the direction that they're heading. So we put 2 and 2 together and said, well, based on those, if they're going at a constant rate, they should be around Jarrahdale about now. And we went to a spot out there, and while we didn't pick anything up, there were some very, very strange and eerie sensations out there. Like, you were being watched, and you are not alone. And there was a few like twigs snapping and things like that, which you can put down to any kind of flight sense kicks in very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, which brings me back to the beginning of when I asked, if you do decide to go after that cryptid, what are you gonna be packing? Because
camera.
Just a camera. Oh boy.
Just to give you an idea, right? Just to give you an idea. I'm not going to go into distances because people don't need to know where I live or anything like that. But if you were to get on your pedal bike in Rockingham, there is a bike path that goes all the way down along the beach, and it goes. Wow, that was something very weird on my security cameras then. And it goes right past this area, and there's people on there all the time. And I'll be honest with you, I've actually ridden down there on my pedal bike. So there's people there all day, every day. Maybe not at night time. And if I went down there at night time, I don't know, what would I pack? You can't carry guns over here, not legally anyway. Yeah, I'm not throwing my camera at it because the camera's too expensive. So it would be my hope to try and capture something on video. But I don't know. I wouldn't be taking anything super violent with me, you know.
I have a question that maybe you might be able to answer.
Yeah.
Let's just say you capture a picture and it's undeniable proof that this, whatever it is you captured, exists, because it's just a perfect capture.
Yeah.
How do you go about to, let's say, make money out of this picture?
See, I've never been in it to make money. A lot of people, when they jump into the paranormal field, it's all about making money. For me, it's about the research. It's about making people realize that there's more to this world than just the day-to-day mundane. You know, yes, there are weird creatures out there, and that leads the question then, well, are UFOs real? Yes, they are. I know that for a fact. Are ghosts real? Spirits? I have had experiences with them, so I would say yes, they do exist. Trying to capture that elusive photo, that elusive video, everything that you say. Yes, if you've got it, the problem you're going to have in this day and age with artificial intelligence, Photoshop, and all of these other things out there, the issue isn't going to be how do you make money out of capturing something that is real. It's about proving that it's real.
Well, I definitely agree, and I got your point. I'm not doing all of this Stranger's Mind stuff, going out into the field, Stranger's Journey, and all of this. It's not about making money. It's personal and to put it out there for add that as content.
Yeah.
But there are people, taking pictures of nature and selling these pictures. So, that is where my head was at when I asked you that question.
Look, I would love to make money at it. I would love to be in a position where I could quit my job and just turn around and say, I'm going to work investigating the paranormal full time, putting videos up full time, and that would be my living. But the reality is that's not going to happen. Sadly. On that, I think we're just about out of time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I mean, you know what? I'll leave my next comment for when we're on topic. I was going to mention.
Go on, just throw it out there. I was going to
mention something because this gentleman actually said that all of this paranormal stuff is actually more of a vocation, not an occupation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But it doesn't mean you can't make an occupation doing it if you do it right. It's just a matter of it is so difficult. I mean, a lot of people that do these paranormal TV shows go on to do a different paranormal TV show, and then before you know it, they've been in 5 or 6 different TV shows. They're the people that are lucky enough to get the break in the first place, but then once they get the break, they actually make the most of it and endear themselves to the fans to the point where they keep getting called back to do these different shows. There are a lot of people out there that could probably do just as well, if not better, but they haven't been lucky enough to get that break. You know, if you look at the number of paranormal teams and research teams that investigate cryptids and UFOs and things like that, there are many of them. And you know, when you turn around and say to be on TV you have to look good, there are a lot of people in some of those teams that are actually a lot better looking than, and would look a lot better on camera than a lot of the people in some of those shows. I mean, you know, you look at a lot of the shows, you describe a lot of Ghostbusters, bald, fat, bearded. So I fit all the criteria for that, but not the good looking, or you know, you'll be good on camera, you will be good in an investigation kind of thing, which I am. Well, I'm not good looking, I am good at my investigation. I've been doing it for over 40 years, and that's what it is. You know, there are far more people out there who've been investigating for far longer than these people that have got a TV show, whether it be any kind of investigation, cryptid, UFO, or paranormal, which I still say paranormal covers everything anyway, but they do like to say paranormal is ghosts, UFOs are UFOs. And what I find weird is that none of them mix. The UFO guys hate the Yahi guys or the Bigfoot guys. The Bigfoot guys hate the ghost guys. The ghost guys hate everybody. And, you know, it's just the wrong way to do, because everybody is trying to prove to the public. We're all
within the same field.
Exactly. I don't know why people don't just get on with each other, which is why I created the Paranormal Collective, so that teams could work together. And what's sad is that there's not many people joining that Facebook group. You know, if you're out there, join the Facebook group. If you're out there, subscribe. But
like
and like and comment, because we want to know what you want to hear about. You know, in fact, the Dogman episode that aired last week, that was a viewer request, and that has been received really well. You know, it's been out 2 days, it's got over 1,000 views already, and it's still going really good. So if you guys want to actually send out some comments or send us an email letting us know what you want to talk about, we'll look straight into it, you know. But anyway, we have to go. We have to go.
I would like to add that, you know, for whoever's watching, you know, I am from New York, the United States. Gary is in Perth, West Australia. So we are actually two different timelines, two different parts of the world. So we have a lot of ground between us.
Yes.
So any subject, you know, we'll definitely put everything together.
Yeah.
That's what Paranormal Collective is all about.
It is. Now, we need to give out Strangers Minds a big shout out as well, because Fernando does some awesome videos, and he has his own channel doing his own things as well as coming on our podcast and everything. He does his reaction videos, which are always a giggle, and you know, just supporting one another. That's what we're all about. And like you said, we're a world apart. You know, I'm 12 hours ahead, so you know, it's nighttime here, it's daytime where Fernando is, and it's vice versa when we do other shows. So yeah, join the fun.
Oh yeah.
Now on that, I think it is time to, well, before we go, what does everybody think of this new microphone? Do you reckon it sounds any good?
Well, I think you should lift it up so people could just, you know.
It makes a bit of a noise when I grab it, that's why I've been sitting still, but there you go, everybody. It's an old...
Oh, man, that looks so... I'm not even sure I was able to say the word.
A lot of noise, there you go.
That looks so nice.
So, sorry about that bump bit. But it is time to go on that, so until next time, bump.
Have a good one, you guys.
See ya.